So here we are. We effectively have 3.5 working weeks left in the year. Kind of crazy, right?
Mm, really crazy.
So obviously, I wouldn't be myself if I didn't remind you of this. Please don't overeat, under exercise, and not work for the next 3.5 weeks and wake up on January 1st thinking those three miracles are going to happen. I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. I'm going to be the healthiest I've ever been. I'm going to earn the most money. It's not going to happen. I'll tell you right now. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. So I'll share an interesting experience I had. I went to the Compass Retreat. I flew in Wednesday morning. I had meetings, events, and then the next day I gave my presentation and I took a red eye back. So I had to obviously come to work on Friday. So I'm waiting on what I would call the ultimate addicts line at Starbucks in JFK. It's about 7:30 in the morning. Now, I didn't really sleep. I had multiple flights filled with beautiful, suffering, crying babies. And so obviously I'm sitting there waiting for a double espresso cappuccino to kind of get my day started. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm half out of it, like many people are at that time who just took a red eye. And a woman standing next to me says, "Excuse me, sir." She says, "Your backpack's open, your wallet's practically hanging out." Now I start getting into a conversation. I start talking to her. And the line literally, it was out of control. You would think they were either selling like some sort of illegal substance or there was like some famous person that people were waiting for autographs. So we get into this conversation about like low emotional intelligence. And I'm like, yeah, people suffer from, only person syndrome, right? Like they think they're the only person that exists in the world. And she goes, my sister and I have a name for it. And in this moment, it was like a very like profound light bulb moment like this. And she goes, "You know what they suffer from?" I go, "What?" She goes, "Only character syndrome." I go, "Hold on, wait, say that again?" She goes, "Yeah, only character syndrome." And my face lit up. I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "You're about to change all my clients' lives and you're about to make a lot of people rich." And then we start talking. I was like, "You should make a t-shirt that says, 'Do you suffer from only character syndrome?'" And she's like, "Are we forming a business partnership?" I was like, "No, I'm a business coach. This idea is yours." And it made me think of all of these conversations that everyone's having about buyer's agency. Raise your hand if you've heard every single outlet besides what you hear here, besides the conversations that we have here, saying, "Show your value, show your value, show your value." Raise your hand. But here's the reality. If the whole thing you're doing is showing your value, you're suffering from main character syndrome. You think you're the main character there. And if we shift our mindset to understand you're not the main character, you're the director. What does the director do? Make sure that everything goes well and the main character has everything they need to succeed based on their unique journey. Because every time they direct, whether it's a TV show, a film, it's a different experience. It's a different cast. It's a different plot. Does that make sense? Or did I lose everybody? So if you spend the entire time talking about yourself, that implies you're the main character, you're the main show, and you're what people came there for. The last time I checked, people buying and selling a house go through this horrible process called moving because they want something better. And underneath that, they have a set of motivations, something they're excited about happening, expectations they're expecting, expectations they're hoping they're met, past disappointments that impact their present decisions, and ultimately concerns. Some could be the interest rate, some could be the economy, some could be worried if they lose their job. Other people could be focused like, where am I going to move? This is what this is all about. And I'm telling you, the next concept is this. I talked to well over 100 people about this, right? Who is a traveling hotel, I don't want to say snob, but has high standards, that would like to interact with me here, that has traveled and stayed at a same place multiple times and spent more than $500-600 a night at the hotel? Anybody? Just unmute yourself. All right, no one wants to self-identify.
I'll
All
be
right,
happy
that's
to. I
okay,
will.
perfect. I love that you always volunteer, so thank you.
Well, I'm just
So
thinking
what's the place you
it's my
stayed?
daughter's standards, not mine.
As a parent, they got it somewhere.
Yeah.
So where do you go travel to, and where do you like to stay?
Well, I'll just use it as the last couple of years. I take my daughter over to the Ritz in Orlando because it checks the boxes for me and then it checks the boxes for her.
And what are these boxes?
So when we come in, they always say, "Hi, Miss Weaver, how are you?" And they've got my daughter's name on file also, and that she likes a little gift when we get to the counter, that she's going to go to the kids club. They know the type of room that I like, and our bags get taken right up because they know I'm lugging her stuff and mine. So it makes it very easy.
Interesting. And do you find as you're there throughout the time that they're checking in with you, following up with you, asking if you need anything?
Yes.
Do you find based on your experience and what you shared with them, they're almost, you could say, it's safe to say that they're anticipating your needs based
Yes.
on your unique client profile?
Yep.
Do you have to chase them down for information ever?
Never.
You ever have to follow up with them on a request that you previously made?
Very rarely.
You have to send them, hey, you're going to send me this information. Have you sent it yet? Or, hey, we want to see those properties. You have the confirmation yet? Or do they offer a concierge that on top of the level of service, if you need anything, you have the concierge and they help you?
That's correct.
And how much does that cost tonight?
It can be anywhere from
Go on the high end.
850
$850.
for
So
Orlando.
if she stayed there for 7 nights, my dad would be proud if I did this right. $5,950 or $6,000. So she's investing $6,000. That's the kind of service she's getting.
Correct.
Now, my question to you is the people that are investing 20, 25, 30, $35,000, are they getting that same kind of experience from you? Be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'll say that that's been a shift that I've done since coaching.
Perfect. So if you think about it, every single detail has to be buttoned up. If you can define 2024 by one theme for all of us, it's write these 2 words down: transaction mastery. So I know you're going to be with us next year, so you don't have to worry about this. But what I'm telling everyone to do is this. Thank you, Sarah.
Yep.
So if you break down a buyer side or seller side, so ready, put in the chat if the majority of your business is buyer or seller. You have to pick one. I'm going to walk you through what you need to do for each. Okay, so there are 3 categories here. There's buyer, there's seller, and there's both. So since we've talked a lot about buyers, we'll start with sellers and we'll go to buyers. There's 3 parts to this that can be broken down into 50-50. If you're a seller, there's the preparation, right? The initial conversation you have, the way you gather the information, the way you put it in your CRM, the way you create the tags, the way you prepare your pitch, the information you send the people prior to them getting there, the way that you confirm the appointment. And then there's the actual pitch. That's part 1. Then part 2 is, like I like to say, is the real sales starts after somebody hires you. See, in a lot of sales processes, they have this misconception that getting the client is the sale. That could be furthest from the truth. Furthest. Now, the real sales starts with after somebody hires you and keeping all the promises you make to yourself. So if you show up to people and say, don't worry, I'm available any day, anytime for anything you need, what do you think they're going to do? Call you any day, anytime for anything they need. And then people get frustrated. My clients keep calling me. Well, that's what you said when you wanted the sale. Kill those 3 words. Anytime, any day, anything is not a luxury service. That is not what true luxury does. And if you buy a luxury service that does anytime, any day, anywhere, it is an astronomical amount of money. And if you're operating any day, anytime, anything, it is unorganized chaos for another person. When I hear somebody say to me anytime, any day, anything, I'm like, great, there's nothing organized here. I'm going to have to be in charge. I talked to a service the other day, and that's what they said. So I go, what is your process? They go, what do you mean? We're available all the time. I'm like, all the time isn't a process. All the time means that I'm going to have to like constantly follow up with you. So the next part is execute. Now, when we're looking at execute, after somebody hires you, how do you organize photos, videos, decluttering, staging those appointments, sharing your marketing materials with the people, going through the communication plan, the keys to an effective partnership? And then how do you organize this all into a calendar for the people so they have like a calendar that's labeled their home that has all the stuff on there? It's where their showing goes. How do you set up your showing feedback? Like all of those different things and all of those details being buttoned up. And again, somebody moving out of a house that they've lived in is a massive lift. So where is the accountability and follow through and really being a project manager and a high-end concierge from the time the buyer signs the contract till closing? As much as people think they have this figured out, I guarantee you they don't. I promise you. If you sat in this office with me and I sat with you for 30 minutes and you looked at me all the things, your head might pop off. But you're getting paid 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 times a Ritz-Carlton does. So shouldn't your service be 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 times better or at least as good? Myri looks like her head's going to pop off today. She's like, shoot. Does this make sense for everybody? If these lawsuits have done one thing in my mind, it has brought to the forefront the amount of compensation an agent receives in regards to the service that they offer. So if you take those 25% of people that account for part-time agents that take a quarter of the commissions, they don't even do any of this. That's a problem. Now, for the rest of us 75%, I think that 25%, a lot of that will be redistributed, and you see more and more agents leaving the industry. They're not going to know how to get a buyer's agreement. So if I were you doing this, I would break the year up, and in the first 6 months, I'd spend 3 months on my pitch. I'd spend 3 months on my execution. And if you feel like your pitch is good enough, it can always get better. And then I'd flip-flop. I'd go to execution. I'd go to pitch. See, I believe that next year is the year of scalable foundations. If you knew how to do this, it's like riding a bicycle. Once you learn it once and you have a system to go back to, it becomes repeatable. It becomes predictable. You can find those, the Tony Robbins 1 millimeter rule ways to make things better. You know what success looks like for this? Where they're able to turn around and said, I hired Sarah Weaver, and literally it was like staying in a Ritz-Carlton. Every detail was thought out. She sent me an email before I even had to think or was thinking about something. And she was always 3 steps ahead of me and kept me as a partner in the process. Every time your clients email you for something that you've told them you should have done or you should be doing, you lost. We need flawless execution. And for the agents that master this process, they're going to win. For agents that master the process of being able to effectively pitch their unique proposition through the eyes, goals, and expectations of a seller are going to win. Because everything is in alignment at that point. But no one takes the time in their business to really master this stuff. We just keep doing stuff and we keep doing deals and we just want to keep sitting through sessions. And look, you have to put practice, you can either have reasons or results. Every one of you could give me 100 reasons why you can't do this. But here's the reality. Reasons don't get put money in your bank account. Results do. And results take time and practice. So if you're not committed to doing this next year, I challenge your commitment to your business and your financial well-being. What is more important than understanding how to do the whole deal? Right? Because look, the bottom part of the foundation is understanding how to do the deal. Prepare, pitch, execute. The next part is understanding then how to delegate. And then the top part of that is scaling it through other people. Everyone can go through these 3 steps, but how many people really think they have number one? Because I could put you through the hot seat and I could ask you a whole bunch of questions. Unless you've gone through an end-to-end thing and then you've literally downloaded everything. If you're following that process, then you won. Say these 3 steps again. Martha, step number 1 is transaction mastery. That's prepare, pitch, execute. By the way, we're going to do live events next year, and I think that's going to be the name of our event, prepare, pitch, execute. Number 2 is delegating. Once you know something really well and it's repeatable and predictable, then you have to figure out how to delegate and give the other parts out to other people. And then the third part is, how do we scale this now through limitless people? I have a client, Caroline Bean. She's out in Houston, and she has a 3-team concierge. So we just redid her value proposition. And literally, if you work with her, you have 3 human beings, from whether it's supporting showings, short notice showings, information about the town, the community, anything. There's 3 humans that you can ask, and effectively will do it for you. Do you think that's a competitive advantage in a luxury service? Yes. Questions, comments, concerns? Is this a different way of thinking about this? Raise your hand. You will all win. I promise you. Somebody told me the other day, oh, there's Sarah's daughter. So cute. Hi. Sorry, I get distracted with kids. It's just me in the essence of my core. Someone told me the other day that I need to find a better hobby in life besides following these lawsuits and what people are talking about in terms of sharing your value proposition. I've been following everything. Nobody is talking about this. Nobody. No one's talking about curated luxury. No one's talking about end-to-end client experience. And look, here's the reality. A real estate agent is the most expensive luxury service a person will invest in their lifetime. What luxury? A real estate agent's a luxury. Can people go FSBO? Yes. Can people go directly to listing agents? Yes. Is it their best choice? No. But if they don't have the money to pay somebody, what do? They go on their own. If I didn't have money to pay a buyer's agent, I wanted to buy a house, what would I have to do? I'd have to go buy it on my own, wouldn't I? So therefore, the idea of paying somebody $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 is a luxury. But people are coming from a place of fear. And look, let's see, Mary Murphy, you've been here for 2 years now. How long have we been talking about this? I talked to Brad Coy, who's normally on both the sessions. I don't know if he's here today. I asked him about the program and what his experience is. And he goes, you're like ahead, sometimes like too far ahead. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I remember like a year and a half ago, you started talking about this buyer's agents thing and living as if it was happening today. I thought you were crazy. And then you kept talking about it over and over again. And now it's here. We have 18 months of training agents on this. Do you understand clients' decision-making matrix? When they go online, what are they looking for? How does each website work? What do the emails do? What do they send? How do they share local information, community information, open houses, status changes? This is real work. Now let's go to the buyer side, right? Prepare. How do we have that initial conversation? Like from the time you ask, hey, I'm interested in buying a home. What is that process to get you into my office? What is the exact conversation that we have through the consultation? What are the materials covered? How do you share the Compass technology advantage? And most importantly, how do you share this in the context through what's important to them? And then execute. The buyer's agent has so much improvement for execution. You should be using the same email templates. If I'm scheduling a showing, it'd be nice if somebody sent me an email that said, hey, Chirag, confirming your appointment for Saturday at 10 a.m. We're seeing a total of 4 houses. Below it outlined is each address, the amount of time that we have in each home. And if there are any homes that you're interested, particularly more than others, please tell me so I can allot additional time. Additionally, I've attached digital show sheets in an effort to go green. If you want something to take notes on, don't worry, I'll have an iPad there for you during the showings that you can do so. Look forward to meeting you at 123 Main Street at 1 p.m. Now they get there at 1 p.m. in my car. I have bottles of water. If they have kids, I might bring some goldfish and snacks. And I would hand each person an extra large iPad. I would pay for the internet service on it. And I would open up collections and say, hey, you know, when you're going through the house, I want you to think about like 3 things, the things you love about this house, the things that are like deal breakers in this house, and any additional information you want, the home, the community, the values. And once you put this in here, this will keep a detailed, this will organize all of your thoughts into one place. And I'll put this into a detailed recap and send it to you by the next day at 9 a.m. from our showings. Is that a very different experience? Then I get an email from Sarah that says, hey, Chirag, thank you for taking the time to go view the 4 properties on Saturday. Below is your feedback from each property. Here are the additional questions that you ask. Can I get these to you tomorrow by 2 p.m. to align around the same things? If anything else comes to mind, please let me know. And then you go through the same thing. You need to log the activities. You got to put the information in your collections. You need to organize it into like the Google Doc where you can put all their feedback in, right? And all this is stored in Business Tracker along with their tours and everything else. And then when it comes to making an offer, that has to be a much more professional process. Who's going to make an offer on $1 million+ transaction or even hundreds of thousands of dollars? All right. Hey, Sarah, so what do you want to offer? Hey, we're going to write an offer on a property. I understand that this is the most expensive financial asset you most likely will buy in your life. Would you prefer to meet in person on Zoom so we can go through all the details, because we want you to feel confident in the offer you're making as well as all the numbers? Have you gone through how much cash you need to close in the beginning? Do they understand everything that happens after an offer? This is a very different process, correct? There's so many more details in this. But here's the thing, and this is the most amazing part about all this for me in terms of like looking at this through opportunity. When you nail this process, I'm going to tell my friend, you have to hire Sarah if you're looking for a house. Literally, it felt like staying in the Ritz-Carlton. Every single one of my needs was anticipated, and she was 3 steps above. When we went out, like she understood what snacks we like, what water we like, and like if we want anything, because it's generally a long day, especially if they're bringing kids. She had 2 extra large iPads that we were able to easily like just look at the pictures and write feedback down. If it doesn't have Wi-Fi, then come up with a different solution. Like that shouldn't be your barrier to entry. I would have a 3rd iPad if people, 3rd and a 4th iPad if people had kids, right? Just so they're like not like driving the parents nuts. You know, asking it, you know, we have extra iPads. Would you like us to bring some for your kids so that they have something to do while we look through the houses? This is a very different kind of experience. And this is what I want all of you to do. And if you're doing buyer and seller, right? First 3 months preparing on that consultation, the next 3 months preparing on the execution and mastering it. And if you're buyer or seller, pick one. Go look at your business over the last 12 months, or at least the last 6 months, and look at your active pipeline. Whichever falls above 50%, I'd start with that side, or the side that you feel less confident about. That was a lot of information in 25 minutes, huh? Welcome to the party. This is 2024. And I want all of you to be prepared for this now. There is nobody else doing this, literally. I don't believe it's business as usual. Will people still use brokers? 100%. I'm not really worried about that. The question is, which broker they're going to use. And if you're not like the #1 agent in your market, then this is where you can go after #1. And if you're #1, don't get too comfortable. And by the way, how good would it be? Are you interviewing? I'm sure you're interviewing other agents. Yeah, we are. Hey, here are a great list of questions that you should ask them, because you want to really understand what you're getting in exchange for the compensation received, whether you choose to work with us or not. By the way, if you had this process and somebody came after you, whether buying or selling, how screwed would they be? We're literally making a list, like a client-facing list that takes all the things that you do. You know how the attorneys go, attorney prep or pre-surgery op and pre-surgery. We're going to make this so that you can literally ask your clients this Chirag question. Hey, have you ever wondered what an agent does in exchange, exactly what an agent does in exchange for the compensation they receive? And you'll be able to hand it to them. By the way, make sure that anyone that you're working with and you're making this kind of investment in is able to share the same details with you. So I'll leave my sheet with you. So like as we get into next year, the things that we're going to focus on, at least over the first 6 weeks, I will be doing live sessions on these topics. Now, these sessions are going to be longer. They're not going to be 30 minutes. They're going to be like an hour. But we need to do the pitch. We need to focus on execution, right? And we're going to have to double down on this. So for those of you who I've spoke with, every single person that signed up and is a paying client here, I want to have a conversation with you, regardless of whether you choose to stay with it or not, because I want to understand what your experience is. We too offer a luxury service. So we want to hear from people. We want to talk to people. We want to hear their feedback. You know, I had a conversation with an agent on Friday. She gave me all her wish list of stuff and I started laughing and she goes, why are you laughing? I go, because literally every single one of those things you said, you're not the only agent that says it. It's all been incorporated into our program next year. So this whole buyer presentation, the end-to-end execution of service, objection handling guides of every question that people ask you, they're just really clarifying questions. All those things are made for you. You just have to take the time to learn it. And for the first time ever, I'll be doing longer sessions and just teaching the system live so that you can master something. We've also heard from you. Raise your hand and you can be honest with me because I'll be the first one to raise your hand. My hand here. Is it confusing finding something you want on our platform? Could all raise your hands. 100%. So we're redoing the whole platform. And one of the things that everyone's going to get next year is called a program navigator. So each person is going to go through a custom, like their own assessment. Based on that, we'll recommend them a flight path and everyone gets a program navigator. This person can track your habits through a text platform. They can also remind you and prompt you of the workshops and resources that are best for you based on your unique goals. And here's the best part. When you're looking for something, you can just now text the program navigator and they're going to just send you a link. Because there's the value of the stuff that we have here is completely worthless if nobody can find it. It's not a luxury service if I have you spending 45 minutes trying to find something and being frustrated in the end. A luxury service is taking out your phone, says Chirag has her back. Let's just hit this button and a person does it. And before someone even asks, it is a live human located here in the tri-state area that is present and has experience working with compass agents. There's technology and tool training. So essentially everything that we offer, there are 3 programs, the Playbook, N10 buyers that's about to come out, N10 sellers, we just put everything together in one. And that's why we believe it's a revenue roadmap for 2024 and everyone gets a program navigator. So you're never alone. So whether you choose to go forward, which I think is the best investment you can make because literally everything will be handed to you, or you choose to do it on your own, you have to do something. You have to. If you're not prepared for this, you're going to lose money. And you're definitely going to lose to the agents that know how to do this. And the fact is that there are 30,000 people here and only a couple thousand of them are here. You have a distinct competitive advantage. And even if you're a top agent, remember, trust is a feeling created through interactions and engagements. So if you have no system, no process, and somebody's showing up that's way more organized and way more detailed and knows the exact words to say based on your goals, your expectations, and what you want, who do you think you feel that you want to go with? You're not going to be sure, but you're like, you know what, I'm going to go with Chirag. Like, you might not have as much experience, but this seems like the right experience for me. If people only chose agents based on statistics and number one, the majority of us would be out of business. And that's not how the world works. So as always, with love in my heart, I love you all. If you have any questions, it's Chirag at Chirag Shah Coaching. I know I see some of you that I have to get on a phone call with today. So bring your feedback, bring your suggestions, and I look forward to connecting with you. And remember, make a choice today of what you're going to work on in Q1 of next year. 3.5 weeks, ready, set, go. Bye, everybody.